open, the time is near. Rise up stronger, cast away the fear. Every heartbeat echoes like a drum. The future's calling, here we come. The sky's wide open, no chains can bind. A world of wonders for the curious mind. Step by step we're building a climb. The path is ours, now is the time. Never give up, the fire's inside. Through every storm we're born to rise. Limitless dreams, we're breaking the chains. The future is ours, let it pour like rain. The ground may tremble, but we won't fall. Stand together, we'll conquer it all. Through the shadows, we'll light the way. Every dawn births a brighter day. The countdown starts, the moment's here. Feel the rush as the world comes clear. Unique powers ignite the flame. We're all connected in this game. Never give up, the fire's inside. Through every storm, we're born to rise. Limitless dreams, we're breaking the chains. The future is ours, let it pour like rain. Never give up, the fire's inside. Through every storm, we're born to rise. Limitless dreams, we're breaking the chains. The future is ours, let it pour like rain. Yeah, like rain.
When I was born, they had no hope for me, but I survived to build a legacy. I felt no love as I was raised. I felt broken, disheartened, and betrayed. But here I am, doing my own thing. I'll take a stand, I'll take a stand. I can do anything. You take one look at me and see a man with a disability. You don't know what I can be. You just take me for granted. So here I go, here I go. I'm gonna prove you wrong. Don't tell me no, don't tell me no. I'll show you I am strong. You think that I am disabled? I'm gonna show you I'm very capable. I was made fun of when I was in school. It broke my heart. I wasn't cool. I wanted to give up, wanted to end my life. I couldn't take the pain, couldn't take the strife. But here I am, living the dream. I got some friends, and they're on my team. You take one look at me and see a man with a disability. You don't know what I can be. You just take me for granted. So here I go, here I go. I'm gonna prove you wrong. Don't tell me no, don't tell me no. I'll show you I am strong. You think that I am disabled? I'm gonna show you I'm very capable. I'm a survivor and that's a fact. It was a long road, but I'm not looking back. I am a winner and I choose to succeed. I'm stronger, my past made me be. I'm Zach and I'm just being me. I'm not disabled, I've got a unique ability.
At Unique Prepping, we're all about building stronger communities and preparing for the unexpected. Now, we're taking our mission even further by partnering with Stolen Spirits, a powerful initiative focused on raising awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Together, we're blending preparedness with advocacy, shining a light on the issues that matter most. Join us as we unite for a cause, inspire change, and build a future where every voice is heard and every life is valued. Unique Prepping and Stolen Spirits, stronger together.
Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another incredible episode of Community Interviews on Unique Prepping. I'm your host, Unique Prepping, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you all here tonight for what promises to be an inspiring, heartfelt, and unapologetically authentic conversation. This is a space where we celebrate the power of unique abilities, share stories that uplift, and build a community that embraces every perspective. Tonight, we're diving deep into a topic that's close to my heart and resonates with so many of you: experiences and perspectives around unique abilities. We're going to explore what it means to live with and support unique abilities, challenge stereotypes, and champion resilience and preparedness in our own way. Before we jump in, I want to introduce our amazing guest tonight, Tug, better known as the Unapologetic Geek. Tug is a passionate member of our community, a proud parent, and an advocate for embracing authenticity. As a father to a child with autism, Tug brings a wealth of insight, humor, and heart to the table. His YouTube channel, The Unapologetic Geek, is a fantastic space where he shares his journey, geeky passions, and unfiltered perspectives on life. You can find a link to his channel in the description below. Please go check it out and hit that subscribe button to support his incredible content.
Thank you.
Tonight's discussion is going to be a special one. We're diving into the lived experiences of two unique abilities, autism and cerebral palsy. Tug will share his perspective as a parent navigating the joys and challenges of raising a child with autism, and I'll open up about my own journey living with cerebral palsy. Together, we'll explore how these experiences shape our lives, our preparedness strategies, and our commitment to building inclusive, empowered communities. To keep things structured, we've got 5 thought-provoking questions lined up for Tug, and after each of his answers, I'll respond to a follow-up question about my own experiences with cerebral palsy. We want this to be interactive, so please drop your thoughts, questions, or stories in the chat. Let's make this a true community conversation. Start with autism. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects how a person communicates, interacts socially, and processes the world around them. It's called a spectrum because the experiences of autistic individuals are incredibly diverse. No two people with autism are exactly alike. Some may have challenges with verbal communication, sensory sensitivities, or social cues, while others may have extraordinary strengths, like hyperfocus, pattern recognition, or creative problem solving. For parents like Tug, raising a child with autism means embracing their unique way of seeing the world while advocating for their needs in a society that isn't always designed for neurodiversity. About celebrating their strengths, navigating challenges like sensory overload or routine changes, and fostering a sense of belonging. Now, let's talk about cerebral palsy, which is my lived experience. Cerebral palsy, or CP, is a group of neurological disorders that affect movement, muscle tone, and coordination due to brain differences that occur before, during, or shortly after birth. For me, CP means navigating physical challenges like muscle stiffness, balance issues, and fatigue, but it's also shaped my resilience, adaptability, and perspective on life. Like autism, CP varies widely. Some folks use wheelchairs, others walk with aids, and some, like me, find creative ways to adapt to daily tasks. It's not just a physical condition, it's a lens through which I've learned to problem solve, advocate, and embrace my unique strengths. Ties these two conditions together is the power of unique abilities. Both autism and cerebral palsy challenge societal norms about what normal looks like, and they remind us that diversity in how we think, move, and experience the world is something to celebrate. Tonight, Tug and I will share how these experiences intersect with preparedness, whether it's adapting emergency plans for sensory needs or mobility challenges, building community support, or simply living unapologetically as our true selves. Here's how tonight's going to go. We've got 5 questions for Tug about his experiences as a parent of a child with autism, and after each of his answers, I'll respond to a follow-up question about my life with cerebral palsy. We want you to be part of this, so share your thoughts, questions, or experiences in the chat. Let's make this a safe, inclusive space for everyone. Before we dive into the first question, Tug, is there anything you'd like to add or share with the community to kick things off?
Well, I wanna thank you for this opportunity, because this will be more personal than I usually get on my streams. And I feel like it's something that I got to get off my chest a little bit. Like, it's something I talk about with people in my day-to-day life, but it's not something I've really talked too much about, except with you, honestly. And I also just want to say hi to the people in chat that are saying hi to me. Your chat is always very welcoming, and I love you. I love you guys. I love you, Brady. You're awesome. And Auntie and Sherry, everybody, you're all very cool. And Margot, of course. That's it. We can go ahead and get started. And Nicole, of course. Got lots of ladies in your chat.
Question number 1. What has been the most unexpected lesson or moment of growth you've experienced as a parent raising a child with autism, and how has it shaped your perspective on unique abilities?
Okay. The first 4 years were probably the hardest, because we, as his parents, the first 4 years of my son's life, he wasn't verbal at all. We didn't really know what was going on. Like, I had a suspicion because I'd actually worked with autistic kids. When I was in college, I did a rotation with special ed. And so I was familiar with it, and I kind of knew what was going on, but I didn't want to believe it at first. But for the most part, he was very, very quiet, very nonverbal. He didn't even make any babbling noises like a normal baby does. And even when he was a little bit older, when he was like 2 or 3, he would, he'd play with trains. Like, he loved Thomas the Train Engine. For some reason, that's like a thing with autistic people. I don't even understand it. But anyway, he would play with the trains, but he wouldn't make any noises. Like a normal child would go vroom, 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 or something like that when he's playing with toys. He would never do that. He wouldn't make any noises with his mouth. And we were concerned that he was just never going to talk. We got him a speech therapist when he was 2, and it didn't really seem to do anything. Didn't seem to change anything. And by the time he turned 4 and he still wasn't talking, like, we were really, really worried. And I was having panic attacks on the daily, because I thought I was a failure as a parent and things like that, and that he was going to be completely non-functional, and we'd have to find ways to deal with that. But then, shortly after he turned 4, he started talking, and when he started talking, he didn't just say words. He said complete, grammatically correct sentences at 4 years old. Hey, Thomas the Train is great. I fully endorse Thomas the Train. But when he started talking, and he started talking in complete sentences, it kind of clicked for me, that I may not see what's going on in his head, but that doesn't mean there's nothing going on in there. The way he learns and the way he expresses himself is he has to get it right in his head first before he expresses himself. He wants to make sure he gets it correct. So the entire time where it looked like he was just vacant, like nothing was going on behind his eyes, he was processing all that language and learning how to speak, and he's just doing it in a different way, not doing it the way most children do by experimenting. He was listening very, very carefully. And so, yeah, when he started talking, he jumped ahead, because, I'll talk about this a little later with one of the later questions, but when, you're a first time parent, you get this like basically checklist of all the things your baby should be doing by 6 months, your baby should be doing by 8 months, your baby should be doing by a year, and how much they're able to talk By the time they're like 5, they should be talking in complete sentences. But my son actually beat them to the punch. Like, he wasn't talking in words when he was supposed to be, but he was already well ahead of the curve when he did start talking. And so I think that was a big lesson for me, and I think it taught me a lot about not assuming you know what's going on with people, because I'm a writer. I try to pride myself in being able to read people and to know what their story is without them telling me without them telling me. And for I still think that, but I've gotten a lot more humble about it, because you never really know what's going on behind somebody's eyes, how their brain is working, because not everybody thinks the same way. Like, when I was growing up, I used to think, yeah, we're all the same. We're all human beings. We all are basically the same underneath the skin. And I thought that meant we were also all thinking the same way, but that's not true. We don't all process information the same way. We probably don't even perceive the world the same way. And I think that highlighted it for me better than anything I've ever experienced. And it changed me for sure.
Follow up, reflecting on your journey with cerebral palsy, what's one moment where you felt your unique abilities gave you a distinct advantage in overcoming a challenge? 3 years ago, I embarked on a journey to grow a potato garden, a task that seemed daunting given the physical realities of living with cerebral palsy. My condition affects my muscle coordination and strength, making tasks that require fine motor skills or sustained physical effort a challenge. Crawling is my primary mode of movement outdoors, as walking long distances or balancing on uneven ground can be exhausting and risky. The idea of cultivating a garden, with all its demands, digging, planting, weeding, and harvesting, felt like a bold leap. Yet, it was precisely this challenge that sparked my determination to prove to myself that my unique abilities could turn a patch of dirt into something fruitful. In that first year, I managed to plant a small plot of potatoes, crawling between rows, my hands caked with soil. The yield was modest, just 8 small potatoes, but those 8 spuds were a victory, a tangible reminder that persistence could defy limitation. Crawling through the garden is no small feat. The ground is often uneven, studded with rocks or tangled with roots, and my knees bear the brunt of each movement. Cerebral palsy makes my muscles stiff, so every scoot forward requires deliberate effort, a conscious coordination of arms and legs that others might take for granted. In that first year, preparing the soil was the hardest part. I used a small hand trowel, gripping it tightly despite my hand's tendency to tremor. I'd scoop dirt, pause to steady myself, and scoop again, my body low to the earth. The process was slow, and my back ached from the strain, but being close to the ground gave me an intimate perspective. I could feel the soil's texture, smell its damp richness, and spot tiny sprouts that someone standing might overlook. This closeness became my advantage, a way to connect with the garden in a way that felt uniquely mine. The first harvest of 8 potatoes taught me patience. Each one was no bigger than a golf ball, but I held them like treasures. I'd spent weeks crawling to check for pests, pulling weeds with careful tugs to avoid straining my wrists. My limited mobility meant I couldn't cover the garden as quickly as others might, so I learned to observe deeply, noticing subtle changes in leaf color or soil moisture. This hyper-awareness, born from my slow, deliberate pace, became a strength. I didn't rush through the garden, so I studied it instead, learning its rhythms. Those 8 potatoes were proof that my unique approach, methodical, grounded, and attentive, could yield results, even if they were small. Second year, I approached the garden with renewed confidence. I'd learned from my mistakes, like planting too shallowly or overwatering. I expanded the plot slightly, though still small enough to manage while crawling. The physical toll was still significant, my knees bruised from pressing into the earth, my arms fatigued from pulling my weight. But I'd devised a system. I'd sit on a low stool for brief periods to rest, then crawl to the next row, using a padded mat to ease the pressure on my joints. Planted seed potatoes with care, spacing them evenly, my fingers working slowly to ensure precision. My yield jumped to 2.1 pounds, a leap that felt monumental. The potatoes were larger, their skins smooth and earthy, and I felt a surge of pride knowing my persistence was paying off. This year, my third, the garden has flourished beyond what I thought possible. Expecting a harvest of 20 to 25 pounds, a testament to 3 years of learning, adapting, and refusing to give up.
Incredible.
Crawling remains the backbone of my process, though I've refined my approach. I use a custom kneeling pad to protect my joints, and I've arranged the garden in raised rows to reduce the distance I need to crawl. The physical challenges haven't lessened, my muscles still ache after hours outside, and uneven terrain can still throw me off balance. But I've turned these challenges into strengths. My low vantage point lets me spot aphids or fungal spots early, and my slow pace forces me to plan meticulously, ensuring every seed is placed with intention. The act of gardening with cerebral palsy has redefined what ability means to me. Society often sees physical limitations as barriers, but in my garden, they've become tools. Crawling keeps me grounded, literally and figuratively, forcing me to engage with the earth in a way that feels profound. I can't rely on speed or strength, so I rely on strategy, choosing drought-resistant potato varieties, timing my watering to conserve energy, and using lightweight tools designed for my grip. These adaptations aren't just practical, they're empowering. They've taught me that my unique abilities, patience, observation, and resilience, can transform a challenge into a triumph. See what others might not, simply because I was forced to move differently, to linger longer. Emotional weight of this journey is as significant as the physical. Potato I pull from the earth feels like a small rebellion against the idea that I can't do this. Cerebral palsy makes every task harder, but it also makes every success sweeter. Crawling through the dirt, I've felt moments of frustration, when a rock jams into my knee or my arms give out mid-row, but those moments are dwarfed by the joy of seeing green shoots emerge. The garden has become a metaphor for my life. Progress is slow, sometimes painful, but with care and persistence, it's possible to create something abundant. This year's projected 20 to 25 pounds feels like a milestone, but it's not just about the numbers. It's about the process, the hours spent crawling, planning, and adapting. It's about proving that my body, with all its challenges, can nurture life from the ground up. Garden has taught me to embrace my limitations as part of my strength. I can't move like others, but I can think, plan, and observe in ways that make my garden thrive. My unique abilities have turned a small patch of dirt into a source of pride, sustenance, and hope. Looking back, those 8 potatoes from year 1 were more than a harvest, they were a spark. They showed me that my cerebral palsy didn't have to limit my dreams, only shape how I chased them. This garden, built through crawling and determination, is my answer to every doubt I've ever had. It's a testament to the power of unique abilities, proof that even the hardest challenges can yield something extraordinary. As I prepare to harvest this year's crop, I'm already planning for next season, dreaming of new ways to adapt, grow, and thrive. UP out.
Well said. I mean, like, you're a better gardener than I. I think I gave up after 2 years, but my problem was squirrels. There is something to be said. The first time you grow something and you like hold it in your hand and you're like, this is something that exists because I made it exist. It's very powerful on like a spiritual level. It's really hard to describe to anybody who hasn't done it. And yeah, it's a beautiful metaphor for living with unique abilities. That ability to flourish even when it seems impossible. And 25 pounds, man. That's impressive. That's a lot of potatoes, man. Not worried.
I'm actually thinking about doing merch like, well, my eggplant is bigger.
Excellent. I'd buy that. Tomatoes. You see, that was my big problem, was the tomatoes. The squirrels would just get in there and just take them, and there was nothing I could do. I've set up cages, nothing. Didn't stop them. Squirrels are devious. Like I said, you never know what's going on behind those eyes. Careful, you don't want to get bratty hungry.
Question number 2. How do you balance fostering independence in your child while providing the support they need to navigate challenges associated with autism?
This is a really difficult one for me because I'm terrible at it, actually. I'm a little, I don't want to say overbearing, because I'm not overbearing. I'm overprotective, and I tend to spoil my son a lot. And the idea of fostering his independence, like, he does it better than I do. If that makes any sense. Like, I've had to learn, moving ahead from those first 4 years where he wasn't talking, the next big milestone we had to deal with, of course, was potty training. And I was banging my head against the wall because it was taking forever to get him potty trained. And eventually I had to butt jumps. I don't think those grow. I had to, what was that? Oh yeah, potty training. I had to learn that it's not something you can force it to happen. You can't force your child to become independent. You can't force your child to move on to the next step of development. You kind of have to let him set his own pace. And for my son, I've learned to trust in his process. And his process is, again, very different from mine or a normal person's. And yeah, I think, okay, balancing his independence. This is a really, I struggled with this one when you sent me the question. I've learned how to give him the tools that he needs. And then I have also learned that I have to step back. Like, after I've given him those tools, I have to step back and let him figure out how to use those tools on his own. And that's probably been my biggest challenge as a parent, because I want to help him with every single thing, every single little thing that he struggles with. I want to be right there to just do it for him. And I can't do that because that doesn't foster independence. That just spoils your kid. And with the way his autism works, again, it's hard to see the process working because it's all going on inside. It's all going on behind the scenes. So with the potty training, I eventually just learned to let go and stop trying to force it. Just, give him the space and time he needs, put him on the potty seat and just walk away, just leave him alone. And within a couple of weeks of me doing that, boom, he was potty trained. And that was a difficult thing to learn, for sure. So yeah, I think that's how I try to balance it. I don't know if I do a very good job. I think my wife does a better job than I do. But that's it. You just have to let your kid set their own pace. That's what I do. And knowing how his autism works, because again, like Zach was saying at the beginning, every no two people with autism are the same, like at all. So anything I say about raising my son is not meant to be a generalization about all kids with autism, because everyone's different. But I do think that learning your kid's routine with autism is what's really important. And once you understand how, not necessarily how they think, but like how they operate, like how they develop, and how they learn things. Once you have figured that out, or at least let go of your own ego enough, I think they do a pretty good job of taking the tools that you give them and learning from them, without you having to hover and put the pieces together. So that's my answer.
Follow up. How has your experience with cerebral palsy influenced the way you approach prepping and building a supportive community through unique prepping? Living with cerebral palsy has profoundly shaped my approach to prepping and building the unique prepping community, largely because it's kept me somewhat shuttered from experiences others take for granted. My condition affects my mobility, making everyday activities like walking through a park, attending crowded events, or even navigating a grocery store a logistical puzzle. Or using mobility aids limits how spontaneously I can engage with the world, creating a sense of isolation from normal experiences. This isn't just physical, it's emotional. I've often felt like an observer, watching others move freely through life while I calculate every step. Prepping, for me, became a way to reclaim agency, to prepare not just for emergencies but for a world that doesn't always accommodate me. Unique prepping emerged from this, a space where I could build a community that understands the weight of feeling different and values preparedness as empowerment. Physical realities of cerebral palsy mean I can't rely on speed or strength, so my prepping is deliberate, strategic, and deeply personal. I've learned to anticipate challenges others might not consider, like ensuring my bug-out bag is lightweight enough for me to manage or practicing evacuation routes that account for my slower pace. This meticulous planning mirrors how I've had to navigate life, always thinking 3 steps ahead to compensate for my body's limitations. In unique prepping, I share these adaptive strategies, not just for survival but for thriving in a world that often overlooks people like me. The community reflects this mindset, welcoming those who feel sidelined and encouraging them to prepare in ways that honor their unique needs. It's about turning perceived weaknesses into strengths, much like I've had to do every day. Being shuttered from typical experiences has made me keenly aware of exclusion, which drives my commitment to inclusivity in unique prepping. I've missed out on casual hangouts, impromptu adventures, or even simple walks with friends because of inaccessible spaces or physical fatigue. This has left me craving deep, meaningful connections with people who see beyond my disability. In the community, I foster a space where everyone's voice matters, where differences are celebrated rather than tolerated. I pour my energy into creating events, like live streams or Q&As, that invite participation from those who might also feel left out. It's a deliberate choice to build a network where no one feels like an outsider, reflecting the belonging I've always sought. Tendency to get close to people who show deep love stems from this isolation. When someone extends genuine care, whether it's a friend who adapts plans to include me or a community member sharing their story, it feels like a lifeline. In unique prepping, I've found people who embrace this ethos, who show up with authenticity and empathy. Their support fuels my passion for the community, inspiring me to create content that uplifts and empowers. I've built panel discussions and interviews around these connections, amplifying voices that resonate with love and resilience. These relationships are the heart of unique prepping, a reminder that preparedness isn't just about gear or plans, it's about building bonds that sustain us through any crisis. Conversely, I back away when I feel let down or hurt, a reflex born from years of navigating disappointment. Cerebral palsy has exposed me to moments of rejection, people who underestimate me, environments that exclude me, or well-meaning but patronizing attitudes. These experiences make me guarded, hesitant to trust until I'm sure of someone's intentions. In unique prepping, I channel this into creating a safe space where trust is earned through genuine engagement. I'm intentional about fostering a community that rejects superficiality, encouraging members to show up as their true selves. This protects my heart while ensuring the community remains a place of mutual respect and understanding. For me, is an antidote to the vulnerability of being shuttered. The world can feel unpredictable when you're physically limited. Emergencies like power outages or natural disasters hit harder when mobility is a challenge. Unique prepping addresses this by teaching adaptive preparedness, like storing accessible tools or practicing low-energy survival skills. My experience with cerebral palsy has taught me to plan for the worst while hoping for the best, a mindset I instill in the community. I share tips on customizing bug-out bags for mobility aids or preparing for sensory overload, drawing directly from my life. This practical approach empowers others to take control, no matter their circumstances, turning isolation into self-reliance. Emotional toll of being closed off has also shaped my leadership in unique prepping. I've felt the sting of being seen as a token or dismissed as less capable, which fuels my drive to create a community that values authenticity over appearances. I'm intentional about rejecting labels like disability that can box people in, instead celebrating what makes each person unique. This perspective comes from years of feeling on the outside, yearning for a place where I'm seen for my strengths. Unique prepping, I've built that place, where members share stories of overcoming their own barriers, creating a tapestry of resilience that inspires us all. Guarded nature influences how I moderate the community. I'm quick to protect its integrity, ensuring it remains a space where people feel safe to be vulnerable. When I sense insincerity or judgment, I step back, just as I do in personal relationships. This has taught me to curate unique prepping with care, inviting voices that uplift rather than tear down. Our live streams, like the community interviews, are designed to foster deep connection, where panelists and viewers alike can share without fear of being let down. It's a reflection of my need for genuine love and my commitment to offering it in return. Joy of unique prepping lies in its ability to bridge the gap between my shuttered world and a broader community. Cerebral palsy may limit my physical freedom, but through this platform, I connect with people who understand struggle and celebrate triumph. I've found that sharing my adaptive prepping strategies, like using lightweight tools or planning accessible escape routes, resonates with others who feel sidelined. This shared understanding dissolves the isolation I've felt, replacing it with a sense of purpose. The community becomes a space where we prepare not just for disasters but for a world that sometimes fails to include us, empowering each other to thrive. Ultimately, cerebral palsy has made unique prepping a mission of love and resilience. Being closed off from normal experiences has taught me to seek out what's real, deep connections, practical solutions, and a community that sees value in every individual. I pour my heart into this work because I know what it's like to feel unseen, and I never want anyone else to feel that way. Unique prepping is my way of turning limitation into liberation, creating a space where we prepare, connect, and grow together. It's a testament to the idea that our unique challenges can become our greatest strengths, building a community that's ready for anything, together. UP out.
Yeah, well said. I feel like community goes a long way, and like I've told you before, I feel like the internet has really opened up the world to a lot of people who felt cut off because of whatever limitation or whatever the world is not accommodated for, like being cut off from the normal everyday experience that a lot of us take for granted, even just like growing up and hanging out at Taco Bell in high school, things that like you couldn't necessarily have done And I think finding a community here on the internet, like what you're building here, I feel that's changing the world, and it is making things more accessible, and it is making people more visible, and it is highlighting voices that otherwise have been silent for way, way too long. Yeah.
Question number 3. In what ways has your child's unique perspective or abilities inspired you or others in your family to approach life differently?
I think my wife and I, for sure, have gotten more into a routine and learning that, like, structural discipline. A lot of people with autism, my son included, benefit from routine. And I've discovered that me being a relatively normal person also seriously benefits from routine. I think having a good routine and having some kind of structural discipline that's involved with that has made life, I'm not going to say easier, but it has made it less stressful. And I've also learned to definitely approach other people a little bit differently. Because, like I said before, I learned that, not everybody's going to think the same. Not everybody's perceiving the world the same. No two brains are going to operate the same way. And so I've had to stop assuming how other people think. And I think that's made me more patient with people. And I've learned to be a little bit more open to trying to understand people from a place that is not relative to me. Like, a lot of the time when you're having a conversation with somebody, you try to relate everything they say to you and your lived experience. And I think there are times where you have to disconnect from that, where you have to really, like, silence your own ego and your own reflective nature and just hear the words that they're saying from their perspective. And that's really hard to do. And I think the way raising my son and the way autism works, I think has definitely changed how I approach other people, how I think about other people. And again, yeah, routine, incredibly important. And yeah, if I break the routine for my son, it's not great either. But we found ways to deal with that. And I'll talk about that in one of the next questions, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much my answer. I think, let's see if I can come up with more. I've also learned to be a little bit more lateral in my own thinking. There's no one right way to approach any problem, and having somebody with autism in your life and seeing how they approach problems from left field, but still sometimes that left field perspective solves the problem way better than you ever could have. That's one of the reasons I like how you approach these things with the phrase unique abilities, because I do feel like that is a unique ability, that kind of radical thinking, that radical lateral thinking is a benefit for sure. I think the more that you can open up your mind to that kind of way of approaching problems and approaching difficulties in your own life, can definitely benefit everyone. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Follow up. What strategies have you developed to adapt your daily life or preparedness plans to accommodate the physical challenges of cerebral palsy? Living with cerebral palsy presents physical challenges that demand creative adaptations, particularly in daily routines and preparedness plans. My mobility is limited, requiring me to crawl or use assistive devices, which shapes every aspect of how I navigate my home and prepare for emergencies. Muscle stiffness and coordination issues mean tasks like reaching, lifting, or balancing require careful planning. I've developed strategies that turn these limitations into opportunities for independence, ensuring I can manage daily life and stay ready for unexpected situations. These adaptations reflect my commitment to self-reliance, a core principle of unique prepping, where I share practical solutions for others facing similar challenges. One key adaptation is using modified toilet handles to make bathroom use accessible. Crawling to the bathroom means I need a clear, uncluttered path, so I keep the floor free of obstacles. For preparedness, I store a portable commode chair near my bathroom, lightweight enough to move if needed during an emergency. This ensures I can maintain hygiene even if water or power is disrupted, a practical step born from my unique needs. The walk-in shower is another critical adaptation, designed for me to crawl into safely. Traditional bathtubs are impossible to navigate with my mobility constraints, so I had a low-threshold, roll-in shower installed with a non-slip floor. I crawl directly onto a waterproof shower chair, which has sturdy armrests for support. Grab bars are strategically placed to help me transfer and stabilize myself, reducing the risk of falls. For emergency preparedness, I keep a waterproof bag with hygiene essentials, like soap, a collapsible water container, and a towel, stored nearby. This setup ensures I can maintain personal care even in a crisis, like a prolonged power outage. My daily routine relies heavily on preparation, especially when it comes to food and hydration. My dad plays a crucial role when he needs to leave the house, cutting up food into bite-sized pieces to accommodate my limited hand dexterity. He prepares meals in advance, storing them in containers I can open without struggling. These are placed in a mini fridge at a height I can reach from a seated or crawling position. For preparedness, I've adapted this further by keeping a stock of pre-cut, non-perishable foods like dried fruits or jerky in my emergency kit. This ensures I have accessible nutrition if I'm alone during a crisis. Hydration is another area where I've tailored solutions. My dad fills reusable cups with sweet tea, placing them in my mini fridge where I can grab them easily. Standard water bottles are hard to open due to my grip strength, so I use cups with wide handles or straws that don't require twisting. In my preparedness plan, I store a case of these cups in my emergency kit, along with a water purification straw. This setup guarantees I can stay hydrated without relying on others, even if water sources are compromised. It's a small but vital adaptation that gives me independence. Crawling around the house shapes how I organize my space for both daily life and emergencies. I keep essential items, like my phone and a flashlight, within arm's reach on low shelves or in a fanny pack I wear while moving. This minimizes the physical effort needed to access them. Preparedness, I've created a grab-and-go system, where my bug-out bag is pre-packed with lightweight versions of these essentials, tailored to my mobility needs. The bag has padded straps I can manage while crawling, ensuring I can evacuate quickly if needed. Energy conservation is a cornerstone of my strategy. Cerebral palsy means physical tasks drain me faster, so I prioritize efficiency. For example, I batch tasks like opening containers or organizing supplies when I have more energy, reducing the need for repetitive movements later. In my preparedness plan, this translates to pre-assembling kits with tools I can use without excessive effort, like lever-style can openers or pre-torn medical tape. Small tweaks save energy for critical moments, whether it's a daily chore or an emergency response. Safety is a constant concern, especially since crawling increases my risk of injury on uneven surfaces. Adapted my home with padded floor mats in high-traffic areas to protect my knees and elbows. For emergencies, I keep a small trauma kit with bandages and antiseptic wipes in multiple rooms, all at crawling height. I also practice crawling drills to simulate evacuating my home, timing how long it takes to reach safe exits. This preparation ensures I'm not caught off guard, even if my mobility is slower than others. My adaptations extend to mental preparedness, as cerebral palsy can make stress feel amplified. I've learned to stay calm by creating mental checklists for daily tasks and emergencies, reducing anxiety when things go wrong. For example, I visualize my bathroom routine, crawling to the shower, using the grab bars, flushing with the lever handle, to stay focused. In my unique prepping plans, I teach others to create similar mental frameworks, tailored to their abilities. This approach helps me and my community stay composed under pressure, turning challenges into manageable steps. These strategies, born from necessity, have become my strength. The toilet handles, walk-in shower, and prepped food and cups aren't just accommodations, they're tools of empowerment. They let me live independently and prepare for the unexpected, despite cerebral palsy's challenges. Through unique prepping, I share these solutions to inspire others, showing that limitations don't define readiness. My home is a fortress of adaptability, and my community is a testament to the power of creative resilience, proving we can all prepare, thrive, and live. UP out.
Little peek into the daily life of Zach. And yeah, little things like that, like yeah, for my son, we always have things on hand that for any emergency. Like he has sensory issues, and most of his sensory issues are auditory. So we have noise canceling headphones. We've got like 3 pairs of them, and they're in various places. I keep one in the car, keep one in the living room, and he's got one that he keeps with him. And when he goes to school, he keeps it in his backpack, and he always has it on him. So like things like that. I mean, yeah, you have to learn to adapt to daily life, and I think that's really important. But yeah, thanks for that peek into the life of Zach.
Question number 4. How do you incorporate adaptive strategies or preparedness techniques, like those discussed in unique prepping, to help your child thrive in unpredictable situations or emergencies?
Yeah, like I was just saying, we've got a little bug out bag for him, and it's more not necessarily bug out as in like escape. It's more bug out like if he's overwhelmed and he needs to bug out of reality for a little bit, which is really important when you have sensory overload. It's got things like the noise canceling headphones. It's it's got a weighted blanket. This is the one we keep in the living room, and things like that to really help him just center himself when he needs to. We used to have a swing in our backyard that he would just get on and just zone out, and that would really help him be at peace. We don't have that anymore because it fell over in a storm. The whole tree fell over, so like we don't have any place to hang anymore. But he's mostly kind of outgrown a lot of that. I still do it. When my son was younger, he didn't want to put on the headphones, and I used to have to hold his ears. Like whenever we were in like a gymnasium, and there would be like the bell or whatever would go off, I would have to hold his ears. Or the thing that always bothered me and still kind of makes me annoyed is the hand dryers in the bathroom. It's something you kind of take for granted, but when you have somebody with sensory overload issues, you learn real quick that those things are very, very loud and very kind of stupid. And I would have to, whenever I would take my son to the bathroom, in a public bathroom, just to pee in the urinal, I would still have to stand right behind him and hold his ears because he was freaking out, having anxiety the whole time. And when you're having anxiety, it makes it even harder to pee. So I would have to be there calming him, standing behind him in a urinal. And you learn that there's a difference in terms of adaptive strategies. There's a difference between little things and big things, and I think every child has to learn this, but I think for autism, it's more extreme because with most forms of autism, not just my son's, but most forms, they have a hard time telling the difference between a little thing and a big thing. And usually the smallest thing, like a tiny change in routine or a tiny little, it could just be like he got a bug bite on his arm or something. These little tiny things that would just be a nuisance for normies can be huge deals and like catastrophic deals. And so you have to figure out ways to teach them how to deal with, exactly, wipe our hands on our clothes. I still hate hand dryers. My son's gotten over that. Like he's at the point now where he can hear the hand dryer goes off. He doesn't like it, but he doesn't freak out anymore. But I still hate them. Anyway, the little things versus big things. Like if you can teach them how to deal with little things, then they don't necessarily get overwhelmed by big things. And I think with autism, there's this kind of inverse relationship. Like when a big thing happens, I think my son's going to freak out and going to have a horrible time. But he actually deals with those better than most people. It's part of that unique ability is that, you know, he actually treats big things as little things and little things as big things, if that makes any sense. But I've also learned that there are things you can do as a parent to really help reinforce that structural discipline I was talking about. Like for my son, early on in his life, when he was really little, he was in ballet, which taught him how to, you know, cope with his own body because he was awkward because, you know, autistic kids tend to be a little bow-legged and tend to be physically weird. But learning ballet helped him like calm that down and teach him how to move in a more fluid manner and how to just vibe in a more fluid manner. And then as he got older, you know, he put the ballet shoes away and moved on to karate. And karate taught him so much about just physical, emotional, mental discipline. I think karate is the best thing I ever did for him. And now that he's older, I mean, he got his black belt when he was 12. So he shined at karate. And now he does music. He plays piano, he plays clarinet, and he's a better musician than I ever was. And I'm not saying that because I was particularly good at music. He's amazing. And I think music he's found a zen with music. Anyway, like it's about that kind of thing, that zen with ballet, karate, music. He's learned that structural discipline, and I think that has helped him feel prepared for the larger world. Like being able to tackle all these little things in his life and learn how to adapt and how to, you know, find ways to accommodate himself in a world that's not going to necessarily accommodate him has led to him being more prepared for the struggles of everyday life, so that when something big does happen, he has the confidence to approach it, deal with it one step at a time, and, you know, just approach it like a word problem instead of as, you know, the world is falling apart and I'm gonna, you know, collapse. He doesn't have that anxiety anymore, and I think that really helps. Like I've tried to teach him to take things one step at a time, and I do think that's worked. I think that's worked really well. And, you know, we'll see, because I mean, he's at that age now where he's learning how to drive. He's going to go to college. He's going to like leave the nest, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm actually very hopeful. I think that learning preparedness and learning some of the things that you've talked about on your channel, I think they've really prepared him for the world. And I hope so. That's my answer.
Follow up, how do you handle misconceptions or stereotypes about cerebral palsy, and what do you wish more people understood about your experience? Cerebral palsy has shaped my life in ways that make misconceptions and stereotypes a constant hurdle, often more exhausting than the physical challenges. Growing up, I faced assumptions that I was less capable, less intelligent, or simply broken because of my mobility issues and muscle stiffness. People would see me crawling or using aids and assume I couldn't contribute meaningfully, their pitying glances or overly cautious tones cutting deeper than any physical limitation. I used to shut down a lot, retreating into silence when faced with rejection or when others didn't give me a chance. The weight of being misunderstood felt like a personal failure, as if I needed to prove my worth just to exist. Those moments left me feeling like a burden, teetering on the edge of giving up, convinced I'd never be seen for who I am. Shutting down became my defense mechanism. When someone dismissed me, whether it was a teacher assuming I couldn't keep up or a peer excluding me from plans because of my physical differences, I'd withdraw, bottling up the hurt. The stereotype that cerebral palsy defines my entire being made me feel invisible, like my thoughts, passions, and strengths didn't matter. I'd replay these moments, wondering if I was the problem, if my existence was too much for others to handle. The fear of being a burden was paralyzing, especially when people's reactions reinforced that narrative. Avoid confrontation, convinced that speaking up would only confirm their low expectations. It was a cycle of silence and self-doubt that took years to break. Unique prepping changed everything. Building this community gave me a support system where I could bounce my feelings off others who understand, either because they live with unique abilities or have family members who do. These connections are a lifeline, a place where I'm not just tolerated but valued. I can share the sting of being stereotyped, like when someone assumes I can't handle a task without asking, and hear stories from others who faced similar judgments. This community has taught me to externalize my pain instead of internalizing it, to talk through the hurt rather than shut down. It's a space where I'm reminded that my cerebral palsy is just one part of me, not the whole story. Handling misconceptions now involves a mix of education and resilience. When someone assumes I'm less capable, I calmly correct them, often with a story or example of what I've accomplished, like growing a potato garden from 8 spuds to 25 pounds despite crawling. I don't shy away from explaining how cerebral palsy affects my body but not my mind or determination. Sense pity, I redirect the conversation to my strengths, like my ability to plan meticulously or connect deeply with others. Unique prepping has given me the confidence to advocate for myself, using my platform to challenge stereotypes. I share videos and live streams that show the reality of living with cerebral palsy, proving that limitations don't define potential. Biggest misconception I face is that cerebral palsy makes me fragile or dependent. People often assume I need constant help or can't handle challenges, which couldn't be further from the truth. I wish they'd see the strength it takes to navigate a world not built for me, crawling through a garden, adapting tools for my grip, or planning every move to conserve energy. These aren't weaknesses, they're evidence of resilience. Through unique prepping, I show others that living with cerebral palsy means mastering adaptability, turning obstacles into opportunities. I want people to understand that my physical differences don't limit my capacity to contribute, create, or lead. Another stereotype is that I'm always struggling, that cerebral palsy is a constant tragedy. In reality, my life is full of joy, purpose, and connection, especially through unique prepping. I wish people knew how much I thrive when given a chance, how I've built a community that celebrates uniqueness, not just tolerates it. The assumption that I'm defined by suffering erases the laughter, creativity, and love I bring to the table. My live streams are filled with humor, shared stories, and moments of triumph, like when a community member shares their own adaptive prepping tip. These moments show that cerebral palsy is part of my story, not the whole narrative. Give deep, unconditional love because I know what it's like to feel abandoned. Growing up, rejection, whether from peers, inaccessible spaces, or societal attitudes, left scars. I felt like I was on the outside, longing for acceptance. That pain fuels my desire to give others what I craved, genuine, unwavering support. In unique prepping, I pour my heart into creating a space where everyone feels seen, from panelists sharing their stories to viewers in the chat. People understood that my love comes from a place of empathy, not obligation. It's my way of rewriting the abandonment I felt, ensuring no one in my community feels alone. I wish more people grasped is that my cerebral palsy amplifies my ability to connect. Isolation I've faced makes me cherish relationships deeply, whether it's a community member who joins a live stream or a friend who adapts plans to include me. I'm not fragile, I'm fiercely loyal, pouring energy into those who show me love in return. Unique prepping is built on this principle, a community where we lift each other up, sharing strategies and stories that make us stronger. want people to see that my condition doesn't limit my heart, it expands it, driving me to create a space where everyone belongs. Misconceptions often come from ignorance, not malice, so I approach them with patience. When someone assumes cerebral palsy means I can't live fully, I invite them to watch my videos or join a live stream. I share practical examples, like how I've adapted my home with toilet handles or a walk-in shower, to show that challenges don't stop me. Education is key, but so is vulnerability. By opening up about my past struggles with shutting down, I help others see the human behind the condition. Unique prepping amplifies this, giving me a platform to challenge stereotypes not just for myself but for everyone with unique abilities. Ultimately, I want people to understand that cerebral palsy doesn't define my worth, it enhances my perspective. The rejection I've faced has taught me resilience, the isolation has fueled my empathy, and the stereotypes have driven me to build unique prepping as a beacon of inclusion. I'm not a burden, I'm a builder, creating a community where love and preparedness go hand in hand. My deepest wish is for others to see past the label of disability and recognize the strength, love, and purpose I bring, qualities that shine through every live stream, every shared story, and every moment we grow together. UP out.
You know, Zach, listening to you talk about your experiences in your life and what you've been through and how you've overcome, I see you as the great irony of Zach, okay, is that you look skinny, you look like you couldn't lift weights, and at the same, and you barely talk, but at the same time, you are probably one of the strongest and most eloquent people I've ever met. And I mean that, I really do. And yeah, so I mean, there are lots of misconceptions, there's lots of stereotypes. It's easy to judge a book by its cover, but with you, Zach, you have proven the world wrong, and I think you need to keep on doing that because you have a great heart. And I will stop buttering you up now.
Question number 5. What advice would you give to other parents or caregivers who are new to supporting a child with autism, especially in building a sense of community and resilience?
Okay, I thought about this one a lot too. The first thing I would say is forget about normal. Just forget about it. It's not a thing. And like I said earlier, when you become a new parent, especially if you've never had any other kids before, you get that checklist. You know, your child should be walking by 6 months, something like that. If they give you one of those checklists, throw it away. Don't even bother with it. It's meaningless. Every kid is different. Even normal kids are different. Nobody's going to rise to the occasion at the same pace. They might surprise you. They might fall behind. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. Life isn't about achieving little meaningless goals like that. And yeah, I said meaningless. It sounds weird to say that, walking and talking are meaningless things, but they really are. What's important is what's going on inside, and the heart and the mind. Those are things you can't quantify that easily. So throw that away. Forget about your kid trying to achieve normality. That's not a thing. And especially when it comes to autism, because autism is such a wonky developmental disorder that things develop at different paces in different ways, and every kid is so different. And when it comes to community, one of the hardest things for me to learn is that every conversation you have with other parents, and you're going to meet a lot of other parents with children with their own unique abilities, not just autism, you're going to meet a lot of that. And I think when you have a conversation with another parent who's going through the same thing as you are, it's easy to get drawn into this like competition, this like one-upmanship. Like, you think your kid's problem is bad, here's my kid's problem, and that, don't do that. It's not a competition. It's about sharing your own. It's like seeking out some kind of reassurance that what you're going through is not un it's not an obstacle you can't beat. It's, if you know what I mean. Words are failing me at the moment. But like when you have a conversation with even the educators or the psychiatrists or doctors that you're going to talk to, you're not trying to win a competition. You're not being judged, okay, as a parent, because here's the secret. It's not about you. And for every parent, that's something you got to learn. But I think with autism, it's especially important that you don't try to make every conversation about your kid about you and your parenting, and because it's not about what you're doing as a parent. It's about what your kid needs, what your child needs, and what you can do to alleviate a world that doesn't accommodate them. And I think you find the strategies that work and you find the strategies that don't work. So if you're being asked by an educator, what do you do at home to deal with some kind of aggression problem or anything like that, you have to put yourself aside and say, this is what I do, and this is what works, and this is what doesn't work. It's not, the educator is not going to judge you for how you behave as a parent. And even if they do, who cares? It's not about you. So when it comes, and then once you do that, and once you start really listening, especially to other parents, and you really start bonding over that, I think the community kind of builds itself. I know it's hard to believe because when you see me on the internet, I'm very social and very talkative, but in real life, I'm not like that. I really am. I'm very socially awkward myself. And especially around people I don't know, I'm very quiet. So for me to open up to other parents was very difficult. And I'm very guarded. But I think that kind of bond you can form, especially with other parents. And if you get into a good support system with educators or doctors or anything like that, I think you have to learn to open up. And I think once you do, it really, really helps. The world becomes much smaller, much less overwhelming, because as a parent of somebody with autism, you kind of take on all that overstimulus to your own heart. You start to see the world the way they see it, and you start to see it as a bunch of sensory overload, like, and that's hard to overcome. But I think building a community in the way you just be a human to other parents and other people, I think that really turns everything down. It turns the volume down, and it helps you not just cope, because it's not about coping. It helps you find new ways to be a good parent for somebody with autism. And yeah, I think I'm speaking in very broad generalities that do work, even if you're not raising a child with autism. Just being a parent, I think, yeah, like I said, it's not a competition. It's not about you. It never was about you. And forget that normal is even a word, because it means nothing. It really does. Every time I've said normal earlier, I was using air quotes because I don't actually believe in normal. I really don't. And I think once you let go of that, it frees you. It's a relief when you realize that there is no such thing as normal, and you probably don't even want a normal kid. I don't want a normal kid. So yeah. I think I've babbled enough. I think I've given a pretty good complete answer, even if my words failed me a couple of times. Drink.
Follow up, as someone who champions authenticity, how has living with cerebral palsy shaped your mission to inspire others to embrace their uniqueness and prepare with purpose? Living with cerebral palsy has been the cornerstone of my mission to champion authenticity through Unique Prepping, a platform rooted in love, kindness, and patience. Growing up, I knew to shut down, retreating into silence when faced with rejection or misunderstanding due to my physical challenges. The world often felt like it wasn't built for me, navigating inaccessible spaces, crawling instead of walking, or enduring assumptions about my abilities left me feeling isolated. That isolation taught me to guard my heart, but it also planted a seed of empathy that blossomed into a deep love for people. Through unique prepping, I've transformed that pain into a purpose, inspiring others to embrace their uniqueness and prepare with intention, showing that our differences are our strengths. Cerebral palsy demands patience, both with my body and with a world that doesn't always understand. Every task, whether crawling to my garden or adapting tools for my grip, requires slow, deliberate effort. This patience has become a guiding principle in unique prepping. I create content that encourages others to take their time, to plan carefully, and to honor their unique pace. Live streams like community interviews are spaces where patience shines, as I listen deeply to panelists and viewers sharing their stories. I've learned that patience isn't just about waiting, it's about creating room for authenticity, allowing everyone to feel safe in being themselves. Love is the heartbeat of my mission. Growing up, I felt abandoned when people overlooked me or dismissed my potential, which made me crave genuine connection. Cerebral palsy taught me to love fiercely, to pour my heart into those who show kindness in return. In unique prepping, this translates into a community built on unconditional support. I share my journey, my struggles, triumphs, and adaptive strategies, not to seek pity but to show love through vulnerability. When I feature guests like Tug, a parent of a child with autism, I'm extending that love, creating a space where their stories are celebrated and their uniqueness is honored. Kindness drives every aspect of unique prepping. My experiences with cerebral palsy, facing stereotypes, feeling like a burden, have made me hyper-aware of how a single kind act can change someone's day. I've been lifted by small gestures, like a friend adjusting plans to include me or a stranger offering a genuine smile instead of a pitying glance. In the community, I model this kindness by fostering inclusive discussions, responding to every comment with care, and amplifying voices that might otherwise be ignored. My mission is to show that kindness isn't weakness, it's a powerful tool for building a community where everyone feels valued. Shutting down was my default as a child, a way to protect myself from rejection. Cerebral palsy made me feel like an outsider, as if my physical differences disqualified me from belonging. That pain lingered, but it also fueled my desire to create a different reality for others. Through unique prepping, I've learned to love people openly, embracing their stories and struggles as part of a shared journey. Live streams are my way of breaking that old habit of shutting down, replacing it with open-hearted connection. I invite viewers to share their experiences, knowing that every story adds to our collective strength. Physical challenges have taught me that authenticity is a radical act. Cerebral palsy forces me to move through the world differently, crawling, adapting, planning, and I've learned to embrace that difference rather than hide it. In unique prepping, I encourage others to do the same, to see their unique abilities as assets. Whether it's a parent adapting emergency plans for a child with autism or someone like me modifying a bug-out bag for mobility, I show that preparedness is personal. By sharing how I've turned limitations into strengths, like using a walk-in shower or custom tools, I inspire others to find purpose in their own adaptations. Love, for me, is about seeing people for who they are, not what society expects them to be. Cerebral palsy has shown me how often people are judged by their differences, which is why I'm passionate about creating a community where everyone is seen. In unique prepping, I celebrate the diversity of experiences, from physical disabilities to neurodiversity, knowing that each perspective enriches us. My love for people drives me to host live streams where guests like Tug can share their truths, and viewers can connect in the chat. It's a space where love isn't just a feeling, it's an action, a commitment to uplifting each other. Patience has also shaped how I inspire others to prepare with purpose. Cerebral palsy means I can't rush. Every movement, from planting potatoes to grabbing a cup from my mini fridge, is a lesson in pacing myself. I bring this to unique prepping, teaching that preparedness isn't about speed but about intention. I share strategies like pre-assembling kits or practicing accessible evacuation routes, emphasizing that small, thoughtful steps lead to big outcomes. This patience resonates with community members who face their own challenges, showing them that they don't need to conform to a one-size-fits-all approach to be ready. Kindness, love, and patience converge in my mission to inspire authenticity. Cerebral palsy has taught me that true strength lies in vulnerability, in showing up as yourself despite a world that might not understand. Unique Prepping is my love letter to that idea, a community where people can share their fears, triumphs, and unique strategies without judgment. I've moved from shutting down to opening up, from feeling like a burden to knowing I'm a builder. My experiences with rejection have made me cherish every connection, and I pour that into every live stream, every post, every interaction. Cerebral palsy has given me a lens to see the beauty in uniqueness. It's taught me to love deeply, act kindly, and wait patiently for growth, whether it's a potato garden or a community. Unique Prepping is my way of sharing that vision, inspiring others to embrace their differences and prepare with purpose. I want people to know that their challenges don't diminish them, they define their strength. By living authentically, I show that we can all create something meaningful, not despite our differences but because of them. My mission is to keep loving people, keep building community, and keep proving that uniqueness is our greatest asset. UP out.
I agree, and I'm a YouTube junkie, and not just because I'm a YouTuber myself. And there are very few channels on YouTube that I think are important. I think most channels are frivolous, people just having hobbies. Even my own channel, I wouldn't call it important. This channel, however, I do consider important. I think the work that you're doing is meaningful in a way that, you know, the kind of stuff I do, I wouldn't consider it that meaningful. Like for me, YouTube is a hobby. For you, I feel like what you're trying to build here is something special. It's not just a hobby. It's a lifeline, and it's teaching the world. And I think that is incredibly important and very inspiring. Yeah, for what that's worth. And to get to I forget who asked me the question. I think Brady asked me a question, or Nicole. Somebody asked me a question. Oh, it was Nicole. Okay, this is an interesting one. Like, how do my wife and I differ in how we've dealt with the diagnosis? I have a background in psychology and education. So for me, getting an actual diagnosis was what I wanted. I wanted that label. You know, I wanted to have a word that I could associate with. You know, I wanted him to be, you know, diagnosed with something, no matter what it was, and you know, PDD or autism, whatever it was. I wanted that label so I had something to study and something to understand, something to get my hands on. My wife didn't. My wife wanted none of that. She was terrified of a diagnosis. But I think over the time we've both kind of mellowed out. Like she's learned to accept that, yeah, he's autistic. It's a thing. Whereas I've learned that it doesn't matter. The labels are not important because the definition is so fluid anyway. Yeah, sure, you can study autism. You can learn all you want about autism, but it's not going to change how you view your own child. It's just going to help you develop better strategies, but that's about it. And I think my wife, I don't talk about her much online, but she I feel awkward talking about my wife. She deals with it very well. I think these days she's a little bit more just open about it than even I am. I think we've kind of like come together on that. But in the very beginning, we were kind of at odds, and it was a source of stress. And you know, our relationship, our family, the whole thing. My wife and I love each other very much. There was never any like risk there, but it was stressful. It was very stressful. But yeah, so that's just part of life. You got to learn how to deal with that. Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of a relationship is that men and women do handle these things differently, and there are strengths and weaknesses, pros and cons, and you learn from each other. You develop together. I think that's important for a happy marriage, and we have a very happy marriage. And also, I did. Oh, sorry. I also wanted to say, I'm not a super religious person. I am a Christian, but I'm not super religious. But I think a little bit of faith goes a long way. And if my younger self heard me say that, he would be screaming. But I think when it comes to raising my kid, I have learned to have faith. I've learned that you have to start believing that things happen for a reason. You just have to. Otherwise, life is too chaotic. You get lost in moral relativism. And, the fact that my son was born with all these challenges, it's not, it's that old saying that God doesn't give you anything you can't handle. Like, God never gives you any obstacles you can't overcome. And I think I've learned, because I had that background, like I was uniquely able to be a parent, to be a stay-at-home parent for an autistic child, because I'd already had experience with autism through my psych and education work. And I think that happened for a reason. And I think God gave me a gift in an autistic child, and I wouldn't trade him for a normie for the world. No, he's a wonderful, wonderful kid. And yeah, I believe he happened for a reason. I think he is legitimately special. So have faith and forget that normal's a thing. That's my takeaway here.
Final words for tonight's discussion.
I mean, that pretty much was my final words.
What an incredible evening we've shared, diving deep into the heart of unique abilities with stories that uplift and inspire. Tug, thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us tonight, for sharing your journey as a parent of a child with autism, and for bringing your unapologetic geekiness to unique prepping. Your insights, humor, and authenticity have made this conversation unforgettable, reminding us all that love and resilience shine through every challenge. Our community is stronger because of voices like yours, and I'm so grateful you took the time to open up and connect with us. Your perspective has sparked something special, and I know everyone watching feels the impact of your words. This live stream has been a testament to the power of community, a space where we can be our true selves without fear or judgment. Cerebral palsy has taught me to embrace my differences, to crawl through life with purpose, and to build something meaningful despite the obstacles. Tonight, hearing Tug's experiences and reflecting on my own, I'm reminded why unique prepping exists, to celebrate what makes us unique and to prepare not just for emergencies but for a world that doesn't always understand us. Every story shared, every question answered, brings us closer together, creating a tapestry of strength and love that carries us forward. Tug's openness about raising a child with autism has shown us how unique abilities can redefine what it means to thrive. Stories of adapting, advocating, and finding joy in the unexpected echo my own journey with cerebral palsy, where every challenge becomes a chance to grow. This conversation has been a bridge, connecting our experiences and reminding us that we're not alone. In Unique Prepping, we're building a community where everyone's voice matters, where we learn from each other's struggles and triumphs. Tonight's discussion is a beacon of that mission, lighting the way for others to join us. I'm overwhelmed by the love and support in the chat tonight, from your questions to your stories of resilience. Unique Prepping is more than a platform, it's a family, one that grows with every live stream, every shared moment. Tug's presence has added a new layer to that family, showing us how to love deeply and prepare thoughtfully, no matter the circumstances. hope you felt that connection too, whether you're here for the first time or a long-time member. This community is a safe haven, a place where we can be unapologetically ourselves and lift each other up. For anyone wanting to dive deeper into unique prepping, find our content, resources, and upcoming events by visiting the LinkTree link in the description. Your support keeps this community thriving, so please like, subscribe, comment, and share this live stream to spread the word. Every comment helps us reach more people who need to hear that their uniqueness is their strength. Tug's channel, The Unapologetic Geek, is also linked below. Go subscribe and show him some love for his incredible contribution tonight. Together, we're building something powerful, and every one of you is part of it. Reflecting on tonight, I'm struck by how cerebral palsy and autism, though different, share a common thread. They challenge us to redefine normalcy, to find beauty in the unconventional. Tug's stories of his child's unique perspective and my own journey of crawling through gardens and adapting my life show that limitations are just starting points. In unique prepping, we turn those starting points into strategies, into communities, into lives lived with purpose. This live stream has been a celebration of that truth, a reminder that we're all capable of extraordinary things when we embrace who we are. Patience, kindness, and love we've shared tonight are the heart of unique prepping. Cerebral palsy has taught me to move slowly, to love fiercely, and to never give up, even when the world feels out of reach. Tug's presence has reinforced that, showing how love for his child drives him to adapt and advocate. Together, we've created a space where those values flourish, where we prepare not just for disasters but for a world that sometimes overlooks us. This community is proof that when we come together, our unique abilities become unstoppable. So grateful for every moment of this conversation, for Tug's vulnerability, and for the warmth of this community. Unique prepping is a reflection of what happens when we stop shutting down and start opening up, when we choose love over fear. Tonight, we've shown that our differences don't divide us, they unite us, making us stronger, more prepared, and more connected. I hope you carry this energy forward, sharing your own stories and strategies, knowing that you're part of something truly special. As we wrap up, I want to thank Tug again for bringing his heart to this live stream. Your stories have inspired us, challenged us, and reminded us why we do this. To everyone watching, keep showing up, keep being authentic, and keep preparing with purpose. Your presence here makes a difference, and I'm honored to share this journey with you. Let's continue to build this community, to lift each other up, and to prove that our unique abilities are our greatest assets. I love you all, and I leave you with a verse from the King James Version. Fear thou not, for I am with thee, be not dismayed, for I am thy God, I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Isaiah 41 verse 10. Stay prepared, stay unique, and God bless.
You woke up to a world that said stay in line. Your dreams too big, heart's too wild, you'll be fine. But you've got fire burning deep inside. Don't let the fear rewrite your life. Every step you take, you're breaking through. Even when the voices inside shadow you, don't forget what you were made to do. The world's waiting on the light inside of you. you're dreaming way too loud, but you were never meant to blend in with the crowd. You've got a voice, so let it rise. You're not alone, we're on your side. You're the only you this world will see, so shine like only you can be. Don't trade your truth for their routine. Keep going, chase that daring dream. Like, comment, share and subscribe. We're in this together, prepare for the ride. Don't give up on your journey. Don't you let go of that flame. Your passion's got power, your dreams got a name. You're closer than you ever knew. If you need prepping, can do it, you can too. When the nights get long and the road feels rough, when the mountain's high and the climb is tough, look how far you've come, you've made it through, and you rise again, 'cause that's what dreamers do. Don't give up on your journey. You got a spark, let it fly. Your stories unfold and reach in the sky. Just hold on, you'll break through. If unique prepping can do it, you can too.